Happy January 10th. JLD here, and welcome to MicroStrategy Today. In this show, we're going to be talking about the endgame of MicroStrategy, what that might look like. We're going to be talking about how the convertible bonds actually work, some details there. I have an epic video clip from MSTR True North about being close to the money printing machine, how MicroStrategy shareholders are doing just that, you and me, and what we should really be thinking about when it comes to these upcoming catalysts. And then I have this epic clip from Michael Saylor you're not going to want to miss. Remember, this video is just my opinions. It's not financial advice. Do your own research and do comment in the section below where you're watching from. We're collecting that data. It's awesome stuff. Let's dive right into the first tweet of the day because, frankly, this is where the real news is at, my friends. And Michael Saylor wants us to know that Bitcoin is the right move. I believe it. I hope you believe it. And if it ends up being true like we believe, then MicroStrategy is the right move because Michael Saylor is building the biggest stockpile of Bitcoin that you or I are ever going to see in the hands of a single company, period, end of story. Wanted to move on to this tweet from Chris Millis. What is the end game of MicroStrategy? The end game is to become the biggest global Bitcoin bank that offers products and services backed by Bitcoin. Here's what that might look like. And I love this visual. Envisioning a MicroStrategy Bitcoin bank. It will have custodial services, borrowing and lending, institutional services, treasury management, insurance coverage. And by the way, Chris says this is the end game. I actually disagree with him slightly because I believe that there is no end game for MicroStrategy. I believe they're still going to continue to innovate until the end of time because they are going to be possessing the truest form of preservation of capital that will ever exist, definitely in our lifetime. So that's really exciting to me. And just think about it. They're going to be doing this, what you're seeing in this visual here, with Bitcoin, while banks who have become the most powerful institutions in the world have done it with a melting ice cube called fiat. So think of the power of what Michael Saylor is building here. This is a pretty epic tweet by Dan Hillary. It's about MSTR convertible bonds in a nutshell. So let's dive in. One, convertible bonds in a nutshell. One, bond is issued. Convert Arb Shop buys it with money the bank loans them. Two, Convert Arb Shop shorts 70% of the value of the bonds. It's an either or. So scenario one, the price of MicroStrategy goes up. The Arb Shop shorts more since Delta goes up. Then the price of MSTR goes down. Delta decreases. Arb Shop buys back a portion of their shorts for a profit. Scenario two, price of MSTR goes down. The Arb Shop buys back a portion of their shorts since Delta goes down. Continue on to scenario one in perpetual cycle. Summary. Arb Shop needs price to go up and down, volatility. More importantly, the price must not go only straight up. Food for thought. So this is getting to what is one of the most important thesis of holding MicroStrategy is understanding that the volatility is a good thing. When it V's up, that's a good thing. When it V's down, that's a good thing because it's making it more appealing for these convertible bonds, for these Arb Shops, for options, for a lot of people who are in this game, which is why it's consistently one of the top 5 traded stocks volume-wise, even though it is a fraction of the size of those other 4 stocks, typically that Magnificent 7. So this is just starting to hopefully get a better understanding of why volatility is vitality. Again, I'm going to do a whole deep dive video on this, but this will be part of that video because it's really important to understand that in order for MicroStrategy to do what it needs to do and for Michael Saylor to see it perform the way it needs to perform, this type of volatility has to happen. These Arb Shops have to see the volatility going up or the volatility being high for the stock going up and the stock going down. Otherwise, they will go elsewhere. They will buy other bonds that are doing that. And that's why Michael Saylor wants to keep MicroStrategy's bonds as the most valuable bonds on the markets. Let's move on to this post by the Bitcoin Therapist. If you haven't figured it out yet, there won't there likely won't be another company to come remotely close to MicroStrategy's Bitcoin treasury. In fact, it's possible that only a few countries in the world are even able to accumulate 500,000 coins. Saylor himself has built an incredible moat. Given this information, one must ask themselves, what kind of premium does a company demand when they control the largest market share of the fastest appreciating asset on the planet for the last 16 years? I don't think anyone is valuing MicroStrategy correctly right now. I don't think 1, 2, 3x MNAV makes sense for the colossal scale of what Saylor is building. I don't have the answers, but I know the market has not figured it out yet because I have to hear a great argument for either side. All I know is that $1 trillion monster is about to be unleashed on Wall Street. And this is what we've been talking about for months and months. Michael Saylor has built a moat. This moat cannot be breached. And he's welcoming everybody to join him on this journey, knowing that he has an insurmountable lead and that anybody joining him on this journey, Mara, Rumble, Riot, all the other miners, all the other companies, Semler Scientific, Metaplanet, that are following the strategy, all these other ones that are piling on 60 and counting, there's soon going to be hundreds and hundreds. They're only doing one thing. They're driving the price of Bitcoin up. They are driving up the scarcity of Bitcoin because they are acquiring more Bitcoin and holding forever. And then everybody is winning in a result that follows this playbook. This is a competition of acquiring the most Bitcoin. And in this competition, everybody is going to win at their proportional level. Just lucky for us, MicroStrategy has by far the biggest proportion and will remain having the biggest proportion for time infinitum. This post by Chris, I just love this because he has this great chart, and I'll have this tweet in the show notes if you want to actually dive into this MicroStrategy valuation model. MSTR is currently undervalued by a factor of 10x based on his model. It should be trading at over 3,500. By the way, just for fun, just take the number of shares you have and multiply them by $3,500. Don't think that price is set in stone, that dollar amount. But this is what Chris's model is showing you. I did it this morning just for fun, and I did a little happy dance right over there. It was pretty fun. You can download the model and plug in your own numbers here, so you can actually use this link to download and plug your numbers in. Again, I did that. That's why I did that happy dance over there. Fun stuff. So let's move on to this. This is a long tweet, but I think it's very worth it because this individual right here, let me go up to his Twitter handle, BitStrategy21. He just posts some great content. There's two types of MSTR shareholders. There's a 29% CAGR for 21 years. Then there's the all models will be destroyed types. I'm the latter. I think we can define the model destruction with a modicum of precision. I know this isn't real algebra, but let me cook for a second. Let's say Bitcoin held by hodlers is X. Let's define hodlers as people that will continue to buy and never sell regardless of the price. I include in this definition the exchange of Bitcoin for goods and services, i.e. use it as a medium of exchange for the purpose of this thought exercise. This counts as selling too. MSTR is an example of a hodler. Single-handedly, we own more than 2.1% of the entire supply. And I love it's we, because it's you and it's me. We own more than 2.1% of the entire supply, going to 4% soon. We're accumulating Bitcoin and therefore generating a Bitcoin yield. We call this Y. There is a finite amount of Bitcoin which can be acquired given the hard limit of 21 million lost coins, time locked coins, etc. Let's call the remaining amount of Bitcoin available to be required B. All other things being equal, let's assume Y is greater than 0. There is a point in the future when T will become 0. There will be 0 Bitcoin available to acquire at any price. What about the miners? I'm including the miners. Eventually, new coins will be mined exclusively by hodlers, and their OPEX will be financed through debt and equity. No coins will be sold in the open market. Mining will be the only way to generate Bitcoin yield in this hypothetical future. This is hard to fathom. As no other commodity is scarce, rising price normally triggers suppliers to double down on exploration and production, eventually returning the market to an equilibrium. This happens in gold, of course. Bitcoin is different. This is why I'm obsessed with this hypothetical point in time, T. Of course, there will be a long period of price discovery. Price will gap and find new pools of liquidity where OGs may finally decide to part with their tightly held coins. As the Bitcoin-backed debt markets continue to develop, there will be No need for Bitcoiners to ever sell at any price. As sure as X will continue to climb, eventually B must drop all the way to zero. I think we should expect a series of monumental candles that defy all expectations and shatter all models. The market will hunt out the final strongholds of potential sellers via the brutal efficiency of the market mechanism, capsizing them one by one until there are no sellers left whatsoever. At this point, Bitcoin will work purely as collateral. Its price will be based on how much fiat will be lent against it rather than how much it can be bought for. There won't be any left to buy at all. Think about that. Anybody that's now holding Bitcoin in cold storage, rejoice. Anybody that's holding MicroStrategy, rejoice at a 1.5 to 2x leverage of that joy, because we're going to experience that, my friends. The last tweet here is from BitStrategy. Why do you think Elon's going to the White House first and not Bitcoin? Because he understands that political power comes first, economic power comes second. There's going to be a very interesting 4 years. We'll see what happens. Now, I have two great videos. The first one is that MSTR North video where Soleil talks in great detail about what we should really expect about the MSTR catalysts, as well as being close to the MSTR money printing machine that we both are as shareholders. Then a great clip from Michael Saylor. So, gentlemen, take it away.
I don't care about the catalysts, individually. And if I don't get any of them, like my thesis on Bitcoin doesn't change and my thesis on MicroStrategy doesn't change. But you do have to imagine, like, what if we don't get any of these? That should be in your valuation model. And but like I said, my thesis doesn't change. It's just every single one could be a repricing event. So every one of these that maybe is a miss, like even the SPY, like I have 100% certainty that MSTR will be in the SPY. But what if Bitcoin's at 80,000 at the end of Q1? Well, then we got to wait till Q2.
Yeah.
So does that mean everything takes a dump in Q1? Possibly. But over a year, 5 years, 10 years, my overall thesis on MicroStrategy hasn't changed. And that thesis is basically this. If somebody came to me and said, hey, I'm going to start a company, and by some legal loophole, I can counterfeit money, I'd be like, okay, cool. I want to invest in your company, but what are you going to buy with the counterfeited money? And they said, well, I'm just going to buy Bitcoin with it every frickin' day. I'm just going to run the money printer and I'm going to counterfeit and I'm going to buy Bitcoin with it. I'm like, yes, I'm all in. When do we start? When can I buy as much of it as possible? Because it's the Cantillon effect, right? You want to stand as close to the money printer as possible. And so that's how I feel about owning MicroStrategy. It's simply they're disrupting and they're the clear winner. And that's really the only thing that I really need to know long term about this particular investment thesis. That's where mine begins and ends.
If I was just a Bitcoin maximalist and I loved it and I got it, I'm hodling.
Yeah.
And they're the same. And that's why I love the hodlers. That's why they're my people. I love them, right? They're hodling. And they figured it out before I figured it out. And I give them credit. They figured it out, and that's genius, right? But I'm not too proud to learn, right? Some other. Right. You got to believe if I lived a million years ago and some dude comes out with fire, I'm not the guy who's gonna say I'm not doing that. That wasn't my idea.
Yeah.
Right. Can I borrow some of that fire, sir? And thank you.
Right.
Thank you for bringing life to me.
There you have it, my friends. Another episode of MicroStrategy Today. I hope you enjoyed. This video is my opinions only. This is not financial advice. I hope you joined the DCA crew. Let me know what your dollar cost averaging into MicroStrategy in the comments below. We couldn't DCA yesterday. Market was closed, but I will be DCAing today and showing you the receipt on Saturday. So let me know what you're in for if you want to share, or just that you are DCAing. Any number is good, or no number at all. Just let me know if you're doing that. Also, check out the MSTR crew. It's going to have some good times in the future with that. And remember, as always, Michael Saylor is going to tell us there is no second best.
What's the second best? There is no second best.